Hi, I am Mica Sims. I write for MicaSims.com, and I am joined here with John Kemper, who is running for 6th District Congress here in Kentucky. John, introduce yourself to the 6th District of just 60 seconds, why you want to run and why this seat, and how you got involved.
Okay, appreciate this opportunity. I've lived in Lexington all my life. I've been in business here and looked at the candidates that were running, didn't see the fire and passion. I thought it was going to take in November to beat Ben, send him home. And I've got 5 and a 7-year-old, and I'm concerned about their future.
What is it that you do? What is your employment?
We're custom homes, land development. I've been self-employed 33 plus years.
Wow. Ben Chandler, as you mentioned, is the established candidate. He is the incumbent. It has been said and suggested that it would take up to $5 million to run a viable campaign against them. What are you doing to raise this type of money, and do you think it'll take $5 million?
Well, hopefully it won't take $5 million with his performance over the last year. I think people are wising up and seeing him for who he is, the damage he's doing to Kentucky and the country. Just getting out there talking to people, and people are responding. They realize it takes money to run campaigns, and they want him sent home. I don't feel like he represents Kentucky.
The 6th District has a majority of Democratic voters. What is it, if you win this Republican primary, what would you do to attract Democratic voters to vote for you?
I think that the Democrats that are here are different than the Democrats that are in D.C. that are running things right now. And those folks are seeing that they're more like Republicans than they are Democrats with the representation that we currently have. So I don't know that you have to do a lot of convincing for the people I've talked to. They're pretty upset with him on both sides, and particularly Democrats. So I think they're looking for an option.
Name some of those specifics that you say that are the difference of the Democrats here in this district versus what's in Washington.
The Democrats in Washington seem to like to take something that we know and understand, a principle, a concept, and rename it, and then redefine it. And when they redefine it, we hear the name they're using, but it's not meaning the same thing to them as it is us, but we're saying, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but they have a different idea about what that concept is.
There is a lot of things that the U.S. is facing right now, a lot of crises. What would you say is the #1 focus of what you would do in Washington to focus in on of those crises?
I think the first thing we have to do is turn back the spending. We need to go back in time and pick a period that we were paying our bills, reset the spending, and if we don't put people to work, which is what I've done all my life, is create jobs, employ people, we'll never be able to handle this debt. And the debt is mounting at a rate that our kids, grandkids can't repay. So.
You mentioned Ben Chandler and the things that he has done. Most recently in the last year, he voted yes for a cap-and-trade bill, and he voted no for health care. First, if you were a sitting representative representing this district and those two big bills had come up, how would you have voted and why?
Well, cap-and-trade would be a no. I have family in the coal business. I understand firsthand what impact that'll have on them, the community, the employment, the manufacturing jobs. The low energy costs are mainly why the manufacturers in Kentucky. It's not because of our state tax rates. So we lose coal, the low energy costs, we're going to lose more jobs. It's a downward spiral.
Explain that just for a minute, because a lot of people think that it would not kill jobs, that it would help jobs. So why do you think the cap-and-trade bill would lose jobs?
Well, you're going to lose jobs in the coal industry and all the related industries around that. But as our energy costs go up, and places like Toyota, aluminum manufacturers that require a large amount of electricity, as those energy costs go up, other states are going to be able to lure those businesses away for lower tax rates, better incentives. A lot of them are staying because of the energy cost. So you lose those jobs in the manufacturing sector as well. So it snowballs.
And then the health care bill, how would you have voted when that was?
Definitely a no on the health care bill. Somebody who's provided insurance to employees and pays for his own insurance. I don't need the government involved in my insurance, deciding on what the minimum levels of care are, whether you can go to your own physician.
Do you agree that health care needs reform?
I do. I think the first place you start is where Screaming Howard Dean said we won't go. And as a physician, he said they're not going to tackle the trial attorneys. And that's why we don't have tort reform. And that's coming from a Democrat, former head of the Democratic Party. So I think you start with tort reform, It holds down costs. You don't get 6 tests you don't need on your ears because you came in for a foot injury because the doctor's afraid he's going to be sued. It holds down all the cost on lawsuits. The next thing is you got to carry it across state lines. I mean, there's so many things we buy that we can buy from coast to coast. Why do we not get health insurance? In Kentucky, insurance used to be given to the lieutenant governor to get somebody to serve an insurance agency, the license to sell insurance. So if you follow the money back, which is where most of your answers lie, we need across the line portability.
Okay. Is there any, so those two you would, legislation as far as tort reform, buying health care across state lines, those are things that you would go to Washington
That's a start.
And would fight for.
Despite what the Democrats say, tort reform I think is where the majority of the cost is. We don't have a problem getting care. We don't have quality care issue. It's cost.
What are some of the things that you're doing and steps that you're taking to educate yourself on the health care bill? I mean, it's 2,200 pages, I think, or at least one of the ones. I know there's several bills, but what are some of the things that you're doing? I mean, it seems like you're educated with the tort reform, but what are you paying attention to? What are you reading?
Well, I have not read any of the 2,100 pages, I'll admit. This country is run on 19-page document. Do we really need a 2,100-page health care policy? I think the first thing you do is throw that thing in the fire over here and start over with some basic principles and keep it simple and not do a gigantic leap in restructuring our entire healthcare system. It's the best in the world. We have politicians from Canada coming down here to have insurance or health care provided. So I think small incremental changes and go from there.
I think with the legislation that's being passed that has gone into the 11th hour, being voted on in the morning, a lot of more Americans are looking at that as not constitutional to not read these bills and push them through. However, what does the Constitution say to you about the closed door policy?
On the construction of the bill?
As a voting on the bill.
The
voting on the bill where you are the legislators in Washington are not reading the bills. The Constitution doesn't say it specifically, but what does it tell you about the way
I think if you're voting on something, you need to know what's in it. And if I was in Washington, I would have read the 2,100 pages. I would not vote for something I hadn't read. I can't build you a house without reading the blueprint, so why would I vote for a bill and support it, put my name on it, without reading it?
Another question that focuses on central Kentucky in this district, it has a growing illegal immigration population. What would you do to address this issue?
The immigrants need to go home. If you came here illegally, you need to go home. I've had several people who came up and said they contribute to the economy, and at the rate we have of unemployment, people will do jobs. I've done jobs that people would never consider doing, but at the time that was what you did to make a living. People will do those jobs. So we send them home. If the first thing you do when you come to this country is break the law, you need to go home. You're probably not going to respect the rest of the laws we have.